Hey, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, the Nintendo Switch hardware and the Legend of Zelda game were both sent to me by Nintendo for preview and review purposes, and all opinions expressed are my own. That said, hey, the Switch, I like it. I like it, and my reflections on it is positive with a really big asterisk at the end of that statement, and I'll explain why in a little bit, but we'll talk about the actual hardware itself, which this little thing is pretty cool, guys. Very comfortable to use. Great screen, speakers surprisingly good, but you should still use headphones when you can. But this in general, I like this. I think this is great. I've been able to lay in bed with this right here and playing it. It felt comfortable. My hands did not cramp at all. I was worried about that just because of how wide set it is, but this has been a very comfortable system to use, and I like a lot of things about it. Even the UI about it is surprisingly good. For example, we can show, all right, there's Zelda, and have you seen how quickly you can take pictures and stuff on it? Try to show here, just real fast. Boop, there. Now you got a screenshot, and then you can very quickly, sorry for the glare, you can very quickly just get into the home screen, and from there switch users or go into the eShop or whatever. So, actual interface and everything on this, really good. People really don't talk about it, but it's still a touchscreen, so you can still do that. I completely forgot about that, and I feel like that's one of the things they screwed up with on this so far, is that they haven't done a really good job of reminding people that this is also a touchscreen, a multi-touch screen like most phones these days. They don't have any games really showcasing that. They don't have any kind of extra functionality or even like a simple drawing app that comes with it. And I guess that's one of the bigger complaints I have with this, is that it doesn't really come with anything to really showcase the functionality of the system. No pack-in apps, no pack-in games, etc. It does have Zelda at launch, and Zelda is gotta be careful with those words. Zelda is worth it. You'll enjoy Zelda, but I do enjoy the portability of this, and one of the biggest fears I had, which I know a lot of other people did too, was how hot does this thing get as you're playing it? And so I tested that, laid in bed for a couple hours, kept playing it, and it does warm up. You'll feel the backside, I think it was like around here or so, start warming up, but it doesn't get hot. It's like less than lukewarm kinds of heat. My phone has felt hotter while I'm holding it while it's charging or using other things on it. So you will feel it warm up, but it doesn't get hot or uncomfortable. You ever use a laptop on your lap for a while? That's lava compared to how hot this thing gets. So I do enjoy the portability, and I personally think the being able to take essentially a home console with you anywhere is awesome, and I absolutely do see that function getting a lot of use. I'm someone who travels a lot. I see a lot of friends. I go to a lot of conventions. I can very easily see people gathering around somewhere at an airport, at a hallway, in a con, even if you're just hanging out with some friends, just all chilling with your Switches and playing games. I absolutely do see that as a possibility. I know a lot of people were more pessimistic about that, and I'm sorry your social life sucks, but people are going to do that, and I think that's cool. The Joy-Cons, the actual controllers themselves, found these surprisingly comfortable to use, very easy to slide out. Press the back button and just pop it up. Biggest complaints on these, it's more of a minor one, but I really wish there was a power button on these to turn on the console on and off. That way I don't always have to go up to the tablet itself and turn it off. That seems like a really backward step compared to any other console, including the original Wii since 2006 had a way to turn the console on and off with a button on the controller. This one doesn't have it at all, so while it's plugged into the dock and onto the TV, there's no easy way to comfortably turn it on and off from where you are with just the controllers. But either way, these are comfortable playing with it. I was worried about this with how small they are, but I didn't really have any problems with them. Even on like the sideways mode, especially on the right one where it feels weird because it's got the thing in the center, but this is surprisingly comfortable. Oops, sorry, sorry, Switch. And then the it does come with the controller grip that allows you to put the Joy-Cons into them, so you can play it as a standard controller. This looks funky. It absolutely does. It's very square, very awkward looking, but again, I found it really comfortable to use. This is what I've been using for almost the entirety of my playtime with Zelda, and I never got uncomfortable with this. It sure looks weird, but it certainly functions. This one doesn't charge the Joy-Cons at all. That's a separate attachment that you need to buy separately. The Joy-Cons will only charge when attached to the Switch system itself. So basically, when I'm done playing for the night, I have to put these back onto the Switch and press the power button there, rather than just being able to set these out. It has a hell of a battery life though. It's like 20 hours or something like that at full charge, so it'll still last a good while. Now, the biggest problem I have with this is, and I know I'm not the only one, which was weirdly reassuring, is that the left Joy-Con, where you use all your main movement, this has some serious sync issues, and it was driving me freaking nuts. For whatever reason, just while you're playing, it'll lose sync, and you'll just interrupt controls, or remember the last input you did and just keep doing that until it resyncs, and it was so aggravating. It happened a lot. It wasn't just like one or two times. It was multiple times per play session, and it was always during something important too. It would walk me off a cliff or into an enemy I didn't want to fight or whatever. It happened a lot, and it's absolutely an issue, and it really bothers me that Nintendo hasn't said anything about it. Now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and hope that the day one patch for the system will somehow address this, but if for some reason it doesn't, that is a serious defect. It's something they either need to get fixed, or if it's just a launch console issue or whatever, but that sucks a lot. It was absolutely happening and I hated it. So it's a very real thing. Now, from what I've been able to tell, I think it's because like line of sight gets blocked between the Joy-Con and the system. So anytime that happened, I'd be playing and then I would lose sync, and I would like quick reach the controller down and try to get around my cat or something to point it at the console, and that seemed to help. I don't know if that's the case for sure, but that's what I got out of it. But the left Joy-Con sync issues are certainly an issue. Another minor gripe I have is that this is the kickstand on it, right in the back. This feels really flimsy, and it feels like I could snap it off at any time. Yeah, you can't feel it, but that feels like it could really easily just like slide just a little bit and snap right off and go flying off into someone's face. That does bother me a little bit. And obviously the fact that you can't have the kickstand out with this here and have the charger going right now because the charger's on the bottom. So if you're on a plane or something that has an outlet, you can't charge while playing at the same time. With using the stand, you have to put the Joy-Con grips into it. If nothing else, it certainly is versatile, I'll give it that. There are plenty of ways to play with the thing. Even the dock itself doesn't have a whole lot going for it. This is very, very light. There's not much here. I do like how it's got this little door to kind of hide all the plugs and stuff for it. So you put the cables in through here, and that's how you get the AC adapter, the HDMI out, and an extra USB. Presumably for the LAN adapter, I guess, but there is a third USB there, and two more there. Oh man, I just realized that's gonna make it hard to port Smash Brothers to this thing, because then you can't have two of the GameCube controller ports for 8-player mode. Food for thought. I don't know if they're actually gonna do that. They should, but whatever. Another thing I noticed was that the tablet itself, that even while docked, and I was playing Zelda, it charges while it's on the dock, but as I was playing Zelda, it wasn't getting fully charged. I was able to see like the charge meter sticking up from the dock, and it seemed to get around the 78-80% range or so, and that's where it generally stayed while I was playing. So playing it for a bunch and then taking it on the go, you're not going to have a fully charged battery, because even though it's charging, it's still using the internal battery of the tablet itself to power the actual console. So another minor thing that you should be on the lookout for. It also does have a low amount of memory for only has 32 gigabytes and a lot of it's used up right away just by the firmware. So be prepared to spend a little bit extra on an additional memory card, which I do recommend, because if anything, this game has, or the system has, a lot of great games for it. Too many people get caught up in what the launch games are, and no system's launch games have ever been spectacular. Aside from this one's Zelda, maybe, but there's never been a whole lot. However, within the first year, the Switch has got a lot of really good things coming to it, and I've talked about that before. Mario Kart 8, even if it's a port, still absolutely worth it. Splatoon 2, super fun. Super Mario Odyssey looks awesome. Fire Emblem Warriors, and not even to mention the multitude of indie games that they just showed off the other day. All those indie games looked great. Like, I legitimately wanted to play all of those. So there's a lot of really good games coming to this in the first year. Don't worry about the launch window so much, but so if you end up being an early adopter, there is going to be stuff on the way. That said, there are games coming, but there's too much missing for the console right now. And that's my biggest hang up on it. At this moment, we still don't know really anything about how the online is going to work for this system. How much exactly is it going to be every month? What functionality does that get us? How our friends lists even work? What's that freaking app thing that they touted as being the best idea they've ever had? How exactly is that going to work? None of that is ready and none of that is being showed. The virtual console won't be ready at launch. Video capture won't be ready at launch. Any other kinds of services. Man, if I could have YouTube on this, that'd be great. YouTube or Netflix, lay in bed and have this, perfect. But none of that is ready at launch either. So there's too much missing and too much stuff that's coming down the line that makes it worthwhile to get right on day one. I've said that before, and having had hands-on time with it, I absolutely stay by that statement. The Switch is not worth getting at launch. Few months from now? Yes, absolutely. Probably around when Splatoon 2 comes out in the summer sometime, but aside from that, I don't think you need a Switch at launch. There's too much missing with it right now to make it worth that purchase. Let them finish making the console first, and then you can pick it up. Unless you're only picking it up because you really want to play Zelda on it, you won't be disappointed. I can tell you that. Like, playing Zelda on this has been a phenomenal experience, and you'll absolutely enjoy that. If you just want to play Zelda any way you can, just get the Wii U version. That console is readily available, much cheaper, and it'll be just as good. So there, that's the Switch. Overall, I do like it, but it's not ready yet. It's not worth purchasing on day one. It's not worth purchasing within the first month. I still think wait until the summer sometime to really pick it up. Other than that, Zelda's coming out really soon, and you'll be hearing more about my thoughts when my Zelda review comes out tomorrow.